Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now today we're gonna give you some updates. Now we are finally moving into skill migration. This part of going, there has been numbers of different news media about global talent. Now this video is all about general skill migration, and we're gonna cover not just for the independent skill migration, but the state nomination as well. Let's just have checked out what update has been out there, and there's definitely a news came out from SBS, and let's have a read. And by the second half of this video, I will go through state by state, one by one, just to check and see how the update is. And at the end of this video, as per usual, I'll give you my little advice and my thoughts and comments about the current situation. All right, so let's come into the news first. This is from SBS, and as you read, the title reads Australian immigration state-wise update on skill migration visa nomination program 2022 and 23. Wow, great! Let's have get some update. But the detail here is not really surprising or giving much of joy. It says the state and territory are all behind the allocated quota. Now, what has been happening? If you've been following my channel long enough, over the past 10 years, governed by the former Liberal government of Australia, what has been happening is they have given too much authority to the state and territory, and where the state and territory has started to create their own complicated migration systems, and somehow it has got too complicated when we hit the post-pandemic era, and the federal government of Australia looking to rely on the state and the territory government and giving them out a lot of the quota for migration, where they cannot really comprehend it and actually get roll on it, because the load of numbers, it's basically overloaded. Okay, so they are not at this point in time, like, not having capable to actually digest those quota, and that's what we have been seeing. The federal government has taken the authority back and issuing a lot of 189 instead of relying on 190 and 491. I'm not saying the 190 or 491 won't work, it will, but as you see, the processing time has been delayed, and it got into some sort of backlog as well. Halfway through the program year, experts said the state will need to pick up its pace for the nominated and enable Department of Home Affairs to process visa grant. See, that's what's happening there. Now, whose fault? Well, I think it was the former government designed the system back then, but it's not really their fault. Well, their focus on regional development is good. I'm welcome on that one. But they didn't foresee the upcoming pandemic. And also they restricted the number of migrants by saying they don't need that many migrants, and causing, I don't know what they had caused, over 1 million backlog. I don't know how that they could actually answer on that one. But anyway, let's continue to read. So the key point of this article is they're behind their quota, behind the number. They're basically too slow. So why not choose 189 rather than going through 190 and waiting for month and month? Experts expect the surge of invitation under the state nominating program in the coming month. Well, good. So they need to allocate more human resource, not just for the federal government, but the state and territory government need to put more people assessing especially, for example, Tasmania, the criteria is quite complex. They need people to actually take time to learn, and they get down to the job. onshore temporary visa holder will prioritize as experts. Here are states-wise roundabout invitations. So let's have a look. So New South Wales, only 871 intending migrants received nomination from 1st July 2022 until December. Now, that is bad. That's just not many. And continue on, we're behind the pro rata 6,168 places. My goodness. Okay, and at the same time, 2,375 invitations were issued by the 190, near 6,700 short. Wow. Okay, so that's New South Wales. Let's continue. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the other one. I'll skip on the comments of the professionals that have been done, and we'll have a look at the actual state and territory website itself. So Victoria, let's have a look. Victoria issued 1,082 invitation for subclass 491. That's 4,105 for 190 for the half year, for starting from July until December. Melbourne-based agent said that the next 5 months will likely to see a massive acceleration of visa grants. Well, that is great. They really need to do something there, and I don't think that it's actually meeting the expectation and the quota and the number has been given to the state as well. So and continue on. So that's many people have been relying on 189. They abandoned 190. For example, they receive invitation 190, and they also receive invitation of 189. And what would these applicants do? They will withdraw 190 despite they already paid the money. And that's what's happening out there. So South Australia, okay, South Australia, the state passed its halfway mark for 1491. Well, that's great. So South Australia has done great, but they don't have much quota compared to New South Wales and Victoria. Now, what happened to New South Wales? See, we have done a lot of video, and I even got a direct email from New South Wales. What have they done? They put up points up to 110 for EOI. Of course, they're going to be behind. No one's going to meet that kind of points in order to actually go through the skill migration, isn't it? Okay, the state issue 2,846 invitational skill work regional visa, only 2,452 short. So that's all right, but it's still 2,000. So again, still falling short. Queensland issued 472 invitations for 491. That's very tiny number. 712 subclass for 190 for the last 6 months. Now, what's happening with Queensland? The state now requires skill nomination applicant to provide evidence of English language test result to document portal if they receive invitation. And this criteria was introduced in September 2022. Well, I thought, skill migration always required to have English test result. I mean, that's normal, isn't it? So why did they put that up there? I mean, but still falling short. What's happening? I think the state is actually giving those confused status towards what the federal government wants. So let's see. I've also got inside information that by around Easter there will be a fall of a lot of visa process. So they are in a way of getting things done. So Western Australia 420 invitation 491, only 830. 190 for the 6 months. So that's Western Australia and Queensland is just going very, very slow. I suspect that's just not the state, but the federal government's they put on a hold on these state and territory. Tasmania issued 565 invitation 491, 900 more than Western Australia and Queensland. So are they doing well? I don't know. No comment on this one. But basically, what we have seen so far is that the state and territory government is way behind to actually meet their annual mark, despite that after Job and Skills Summit, the quota of migration has increased from 160,000 to 195,000. Now, would they have a doubt for 2023 to actually increase for more skilled migrant? We don't know. But it's also the unused quota from what we have seen. And also remember a couple weeks ago, we disclose some of the freedom information that not all the 189 people actually accepted and lost the visa as well. So these quota were actually redistributed back perhaps to the 1AA visa or the GTI visa and so on and so forth, or for the family related type of visa. Anyway, let's move on to let's have a look the if there has been any updates. Let me magnify this on the skill select invitation round. So there hasn't really been any update because it continues to stay on December. So we expect there will be a lot more 189 invitation. As we have seen, the state and territory nomination hasn't really been kicked, full on as we have moving into 2022 and 23 financial year. So I suspect they will utilize more on 189 on the coming month as well. So watch on that space. Make sure you put your EOI in so you don't miss that opportunity there. Now, New South Wales, not much of updates, as we have always done a lot of state and territory migration update, but from what we have seen, there's not much of update. They have removed the whatever points that New South Wales used to require. So we have done that news previously. Now if we go to this is Victoria again, no news. If no news is good news, I'm not too sure, but it seems to be from the report of SBS, there's not much of movement between states and territories. South Australia, nope, no news. So if I click on the news announcements, the latest news is still back before Christmas 2022, so not bother of looking at that one. Queensland, not much of moving on as well. If we click on the skill program, it basically says it's open for the onshore and offshore. Well, sure, we'll love that. But still they are not picking much of the invitation as well. Moving onwards, ACT, looking at that one, they have that numbers of nomination done, but from the news again, no news. Okay, Western Australia, the latest one was on the 20th of January. As it reads, Western Australia has received an overwhelming amount of application to allow adequate time to process large volume, blah blah blah. Well, good, they received a lot, but how much have they done? As we see on this news, well, not much. If they got a lot, why not invite more and process more? Don't understand. Okay, anyway, so that was Western Australia. Tasmania, whoa, stunning. They spent some good money on their website design, didn't they? But apart from it used to be orange, now it's green, looks great. But apart from that, nothing changed. There's not much of stuff changing. If we click on those ones, they're still the same, a lot of different pathways and things. So nomination pathway for 491, there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How complicated they are. Okay, so again, that's for Tasmania and Northern Territory. Again, it's the same, nothing changed. So coming back to that news article here, what's happening with the state and territory nominations? Well, I suspect two things. One is that the state and territory did not plan well enough right after Job and Skills Summit at September 2022. Despite they know the migration door is opening, but they did not put enough personnel to actually respond to the requirement of the federal government. So there must be a communication gap between the federal government and the state and territory government. And that's probably why we have seen 3 invitation round on subclass 189 massively going around the nation. So how will that go? My thoughts, first of all, now obviously not all invitation will be accepted and applied. So despite of the state and territory government, they are well behind, and there will be still a percentage of people got invited and still abandoned the 190,491, and they probably go pick 189. So they will definitely, so this is a management issue. You see, how the post, the former government's system was more restrictive and more complicated one, rather than a open, welcoming migration program that the the current government is promoting. So we are actually in a stage of looking into two different systems, and they are morphing into a new one. So the state and territory government hasn't really picked up those kind of pace, and not morphing into a new pace of, they should be more open. I mean, all of them should follow what Victoria is doing, put it onto the basics and start inviting skilled migrants, rather than, the skill shortage is still out there. I don't know why the state government is not issuing. So they haven't really aligned each other. So I suspect all of this will be resolved, as I had predicted, by around Easter, before or after Easter time. And obviously moving into a new financial year, everything will be resolved as well, despite the current government is still resolving a lot of backlog. But from the information I received, I believe the backlog will also be resolved to a certain point by Easter as well. So that means, what does that mean? That means the skill migration, that including the business innovation one-way visa, and also the employment sponsor visa, and also the global talent visa, will be a better, how should I rephrase this? Will be a better status, or better formatted situation moving into a new financial year. So anyway, this year will be exciting, as we are expecting a new policy to be announced by end of February. So let's watch into that space, and should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below. Let's see you next video. Goodbye.